How's it going, everyone? I'm Keegs, and I just finished Season 3 of Harley Quinn, the animated series, and it is freaking fantastic, so I wanted to talk about it. So, spoilers, obviously, for Season 3 of Harley Quinn. One of the greatest things about this show, I find, is that every episode builds on the previous episode, but at the same time, if you haven't seen any of the other things, each episode stands on its own for the most part, and especially at the beginning of the season, you can really watch any episode, hop in anywhere, and just have a blast with this thing. Like from the start with the honeymoon, it sets up the plot arcs for both Harley and Ivy, where Harley is just trying to have a really fun time and make sure that Ivy is happy, and that's really all she wants at the moment. On the other hand, Ivy is not really sure what she wants, and she's really just trying to figure herself out, and this season really shifts over to an Ivy-focused plotline, whereas Harley doesn't really have a goal anymore, and Ivy doesn't, but she starts to learn what her goal in life is and how to act with a team and with a partner. The first episode also really sets up the mayor election, where Jim Gordon is running to be mayor, and that obviously transitions into a bunch of very wacky fun events that lead to none other than Joker becoming the mayor of Gotham City. Then Harley goes on to save Batgirl from Mad Hatter, which actually transitions to a much larger plotline of Harley turning into somewhat of a hero by the end of the story, which I really wasn't expecting it to go there, even though maybe the writing was already on the wall. Nightwing and Batman are very much satirical versions of themselves and pretty funny throughout, and I loved the episode where they went into Bruce's mind and Harley ended up having to use her psychiatry skills to get them out. In fact, I feel like this season did a really great job of utilizing Harley's psychiatry skills because it's essentially a superpower of hers, and I feel like not enough Harley content really leans into that aspect of her personality. I mean, she should be able to essentially look at somebody, diagnose them with what their mental state is, and be able to influence people so well because she already knows kind of the background and the psychology of all the people, and she should be able to kind of manipulate people into doing what she wants way more often. Also, I just wanted to say how excited I was to see the animation style of that episode in Bruce's head in the same animation style as Batman the Animated Series. That's just a great callback. Selina ends up breaking up with Bruce throughout the season, and that kind of forces a major plot arc of the season where he tries to resurrect his dead parents with Ivy's plant serum, and then it leads into Ivy controlling all the plants and trying to turn the world into Eden. Normally, I wouldn't really love a storyline with Bruce trying to bring his parents back, because that doesn't really feel like Batman, but considering that these are satire versions of the characters, I thought it fit in really well, actually. The only thing is, I would have kind of liked to see Ivy have made the serum herself, and the whole plotline with Batman there didn't really matter. It was just used as a device to further the plot, and it didn't really have any bearing later in the episode that he tried to resurrect his parents, or later in the season at all. I would have liked to see Ivy have done it herself, because then everything that happens, including Harley sacrificing herself at the end, would have been directly her fault, and I just think that would have been a little better tie-in. Probably my biggest complaint of this season was that all of the side characters really took a backseat this season and didn't really contribute much to anything in the season. I mean, King Shark had that one episode where he went down to take the throne back from his brother, and honestly, I felt like it kind of dragged on for a while. That's something that I feel like could have been cut in somewhere else with a different overall storyline for that episode, because it just kind of felt like it dragged on a bit. Plus, I don't really feel like it added a lot to the season at the end of it. I mean, maybe next season they'll bring that back and there will be some consequences for him now being the ruler of his little city down there, but I just felt like in this season it didn't really make sense to have a full episode dedicated to that. Clayface becoming an actor also, I really didn't feel like had that big of an impact on the season, and Dr. Psycho was barely in it, though when he was, I freaking loved him. And let's be honest, I would watch an entire episode just of his podcast, because I think that was incredible. Really, I think Batgirl was starting to transition into being Harley's sidekick type character, and she goes on to end up leading the Bat family at the end of this, which I think kind of makes sense, because to me, I think she has the most level-headed view. She's almost used as like a control character in the show, where all of her viewpoints are probably similar to what the viewer would be expecting other people to do and what the viewer would be thinking. And a lot of her thoughts, I feel like, are very logical in contrast to pretty much everyone else in the show. Ivy gets a huge glow up and becomes much more sure of herself throughout the season, which is in stark contrast to how she started the season. And I also love the bit of everyone just telling her how good she looks and her and Frank keeping count. Also, I thought they did an amazing job with the wardrobe design of all the characters. I feel like a lot of Harley's outfits were like homage to her original costume, but a fancy version, which I thought were great. Bruce gets arrested at the end for tax evasion, and I find it really interesting that it seems like he's actually trying to move past his parents getting murdered finally and maybe become a changed man. So I wonder if at the end of season 4 or something, he's gonna come back as a new man and someone that maybe isn't Batman, and then maybe something traumatizes him and forces him back into being Batman. I can see that as a very real possibility for how they have handled Batman so far. But I think most of the next season, at least on the Bat family side, is going to focus on Barbara becoming the new leader of the Bat family, so I guess we'll see where it goes from there. And Harley ends up joining the Bat family too, which, you know, I'm all here for it. I can't wait to see where they go with it. I feel like she should be maybe more of an anti-hero than a full-on hero at this point, which I guess she kind of says that she's not ready to say the word hero or the other thing. But I think it's really interesting that she's going to be fighting crime with the Bat family, because I feel like her methods are going to be a little extreme for the rest of the Bat family members. It would be really crazy next arc to see if Harley ends up having to take down Ivy at one point, because she's doing the whole hero thing and Ivy is still a villain. I wonder how they're going to handle that though, because I feel like it would be particularly funny if, like, during their jobs as hero and villain, they were trying to take each other down, but then, like, at the end of the day, they go back home and just kind of hang out and just talk about how work was such a drag because they treat it just like jobs, and, like, make no mention of the fact that they were literally just outside fighting each other, trying to take each other down. Overall, I'm really excited to see where they go next season, and particularly, I would love to see a spinoff with Nightwing and Damian as Robin. I feel like that would be a very hilarious team to watch, because Damian's almost like Batman mentality, but like more traditional Batman mentality, where he's very serious and doesn't kind of put up with any of the BS that the rest of the characters are spitting. And then you have, on the other side, a super moody Nightwing, and I just think that would be an insanely fun team up to watch, and I would definitely watch an entire series of that. But I also think it goes without saying that Bane is clearly the backbone of the entire underworld of supervillains, and I think the entire thing would fall apart without him in the show. So I can't wait to see more of Bane and what he's got in store for us next. But I'm Keegs. Tell me what you thought about Season 3 of Harley Quinn and what you're looking forward to in Season 4. I will catch you all next time for some more comic book content.
You could cut the tension with one of these. That's on them. All they have to do is give me back my pasta maker if they don't want things to be weird.